Hey everybody, this is another watercolor video, and in this I'm painting a dancer type scene in the rain possibly, and I'm using Brusho and Lindy's Stamp Gang Magicals, and I am painting on 140-pound cold pressed watercolor paper, and I am just sketching here, so if you want to see some slower, like if you want to see this a little bit slower, you can always click on the three little dots up top on your right hand screen. I'm not sure where it is on the desktop, but you can do the playback speed and you can put it slower or faster. So here I'm just trying to do her face, and I'm just trying to get the right kind of angles for it and just the right perspective here of where I want her legs to go. And I am trying to do this a little bit looser because it is going to be just it's supposed to be a looser watercolor painting without too much detail, but it's hard for me when I start sketching to not put in too much detail. And you know, when you see my flower paintings, I don't sketch them. And so, you know, but obviously with something like this, I kind of need to sketch it. Some people may not, but I do. And I'm just trying to get not too detailed, but as you can see, I'm getting pretty detailed. I'm erasing things and checking things and changing the legs, and yeah, I do quite a bit of erasing when I do sketching like this, and I can't decide if it's good for me or not. Sometimes I'm just like, well, just go with what works. And lots of people say, well, you can erase, you shouldn't erase. But you know, if it works. And then sometimes I think that not erasing just helps me to just kind of be looser and just work with the pencil marks I've already put down. So I kind of go between that. And honestly, just like for yourself, find what works best for you, because it kind of is just how your brain kind of processes things. And so the idea that you're not going to erase and work with the marks you have might actually work for you. Sometimes it does work good for me. All right, so I am done with that, sketching that, I think. It has been a long time since I have drawn a figure, and practice makes perfect, people. Clearly I need some practice, because I struggled a lot with this one, and it's supposed to be like really loose, and that's my problem. I don't know how to draw just loose general figures very well. So what we're going to do now is I am going to just put a little bit of some masking fluid in there, and I did have a little container. I don't know where it is now. Okay, so I have some masking fluid here, and I don't like to dip right in the bottle to do it, because this can just get really mucked up really quickly. So what I usually do is put some in a little container, just like I have like a tiny little jar. I can't find that jar, surprise, surprise. That's probably a lot more than what I want. And I'll just use that with an old brush, of course. So let's get that out now. So you can use anything to apply masking fluid. You can use a little toothpick, a little Q-tip, but definitely don't use a good brush. Use a brush that you don't care if it gets wrecked. And if you dip it in a little bit of dish soap first, that does help. I never end up doing that because I never have dish soap with me. So I'm just going to, I'm not going to put it everywhere. I think I'm going to put it on her face. So with masking fluid, it does help for me if you get some tinted masking fluid, because then you can kind of see where it's at. And I'm sure you can get some that's not tinted, but all the masking fluid I've seen has been tinted. So I'm just going to do her arms. I'm tempted to see if maybe I should do all of it, but I think I'll be okay if I just do her skin first and then do I think if I just mask off her skin tone, then I think I'll be okay. Maybe I should do her shoes too. Yeah, I better do her shoes too. So the idea is to do a super, okay. I guess I didn't need to do those details there because I'm just going over it with the whole leg. Whatever. So her leg's kind of turned toward us, and then that's supposed to be the angle that it is. And hopefully when all is said and done, it'll look like that. I hope. So I'm just going to do it up to there. I kind of want a few spots of her legs showing through, so I'm going to kind of just add a little bit of white. Just kind of, yeah, we'll see how that works. And let's fill that in. And then I think we're good, I think. Yeah, so I'm just going to clean this off, because this gets quite gummy if you haven't worked with masking fluid. This is really the best way to, see now I'm going to pour that back in because I don't want to waste it, but if I had my little jar, I could just go back and use that again, but I don't know where my little jar is. Because the whole point is to not contaminate it. But it's okay. Next time, I was trying to get ready for this video and I could not find that little jar anywhere, and then I could not find another little jar. And sometimes when you're filming a video, I don't want to wait 3 days till I finally go and get the jar. And then another thing I'm going to do before I forget is I'm just going to take my wax, just clear wax candle, and I'm just going to kind of do some just random, some of this will show up, some of it won't, or like some of it will be a resist, some of it won't. We'll just leave it like that. I'm just wondering if I want to do it in the dress at all. Maybe. Let's just... So the thing with the candle is that, or with the wax, is that it'll just be really spotty and it'll just kind of scratch the surface a little bit, so it won't, like, whereas the masking fluid will completely keep it white exactly where you put it, whereas this is just kind of iffy, and that's what I want. That's, I don't want it to be very particular. All right, so I'm gonna let this dry and then I'm gonna come back here. So now everything is dry and I am getting my Brusho and Magicals ready, and I'm just using a lot of different blues, turquoises, some light yellows, and then for the dress I'm adding some oranges and coppers. So I'm just sprinkling in the dress right now and then just spritzing some water, And I'm kind of keeping it to the left side and then just bringing the color over to the right side so that I am hopefully getting the effect of having a darker shadow on the left, like towards the back of her dress. And that color looks kind of green, but it's more yellowy, but it's kind of coming out green in that one area, but that's okay, it doesn't matter. And you can see where I have put the wax, it's working really well, and then later on we'll be taking off the masking fluid. And so now I am just kind of adding some things around her feet, and just, I'm not sure exactly how much I'm doing this, and you know, now that I'm done, I think a little bit of an approach like less is more would be better. And so the next time I do this, I would probably do a little bit less than what, but you can keep watching and you'll see how much I do. Now I'm just doing a little reflection because I do want this to kind of look like she's dancing in the rain. I'm not sure if I was successful with that or not, but you know, I'm trying to do a reflection, and I think the direction that I put the wax kind of kept that from happening. I should have thought about the direction of the wax going like on the ground where she's dancing, maybe a different direction, like maybe more horizontal, side to side rather than like up and down. But I was trying to get some more movement and maybe some wind and stuff in there. But I love the whole technique of this, and I'm definitely going to be doing this again. And as you can see with the Brusho, like you can't hardly even see it when I sprinkle it on. And then as soon as I spritz it, you know, we have this explosion of color. So again, if you have not seen, I do have videos. I'll just put it in the top right there coming across the screen. I have an intro to Brusho and a swatching video and a few other videos that I've done some things with. So definitely check those out if you're like kind of sitting here going, what is she using there? Like, what are those things she's sprinkling on there? I do have some intro videos to there. And also, while I'm mentioning it, you can check out the giveaway because it's going to be done soon. So you still have time to enter. You have to watch all the videos. For any of my giveaways, you have to watch all the videos in that specific playlist. You have to comment on each one and leave a thumbs up or thumbs down, and you have to be subscribed to me. So, but you can check out the link to the actual video where I announce the giveaway. And here I am adding some color around her because I don't want her to have an outline. So once again, this is all dry, and I think this is going to be me actually talking on here. I'm pretty sure that I've just narrated this video up until now. I know that sounds weird, but I can't remember what parts of this video I'm going to need to narrate and which parts I'm not narrating. So whatever. If I sound like I don't even have a clue what I'm doing with this video, I do have a clue. I just don't remember my clues. What? I don't make any sense. Sometimes I have to narrate because I've got too much of a noisy house, too much of a noisy dog, too many noisy kids, and sometimes I have to narrate because I'm freezing and I have to have the heater on, and the heater is noisy. Well, I think it's probably just annoying in the background. So hence me narrating. I usually try to heat it up, and usually it doesn't take very long for my room to heat up because it's like a normal room. It's not like in some dungeon or anything. Sorry, I'm just looking for brushes here. But it was especially cold for some reason, so I just needed to do this. I was just going to stick this in my bleach, but I remember this is one of my good brushes and I don't want to stick it in the bleach, so I'm going to go back to this brush. So what we've got here, first of all, we can't really tell too much because I haven't, you know, done any outline with the person. I really like how her dress turned out, and the wax, that worked so good. I mean, I've done that before, but it hasn't worked too well. It doesn't work too well to do this on canvas, is unless you have sanded it down to a very smooth surface. It doesn't really work too well on canvas. But I want to lighten some of these areas because they're just a little bit more intense than what I wanted. So I'm just going to kind of go through here and lighten some of these because I don't want her to be faded out. And I did paint her dress orange on purpose because it's such a good color against blue. So I haven't done anything with bleach on this. So if you're wondering, what in the world, why is she doing this with bleach, huh? Check out my video. I'll just put it up in the corner there. It's the one that I just posted. And it uses bleach to paint kind of a forest setting. So you can check that out. And now, rather than use bleach for that purpose, I'm using it for a different purpose, which is just to lighten up some things here. Because I just went a little too dark, I think. And you could definitely use this same effect, you know, to paint more shapes in here if you wanted. One thing, oh, it smells like a swimming pool in here. One thing is, what is my one thing? The bleach has affected my thought process. I'll remember. Okay. Oh, that was what it was. Next time, what I'll do, like I kind of wanted to do some things to show like whatever, I don't know, some movement. So I did lots of stuff with my wax this way. What I would rather do now is to try to make little blotches instead. I'm not even sure how that would go, but this is actually working really good to lighten this. I really actually like that. I'm going to keep this dark down here though, because the whole idea is to make that look like a reflection. Don't know if this is going to lighten any more than that, but I think I might be okay. I like what's happened here. I think this is good. Yeah, I think this works. So we'll try this. Okay, put the lid on that. So again, this bleach is neat. There's nothing added to it at all. You could, if you wanted to, try diluting it with diluting it with water and seeing if that does anything. You know, you could just experiment with a few different things. It's up to you. Okay, now I think what I'm going to do is just paint a little bit in my palette and just want to define her dress a little bit more. And as soon as this bleach dries, which I could take a blow dryer to it, I could take a heat gun to it if I wanted to. I'm going to just take this copper and just put it a little bit in a palette. I'm just going to paint a little bit of a shape in her. Let's do a little bit more here. We could even maybe put in some black. Let's try this, not the blazing black, I want the color, this black here. So I will say, putting a tack through here works way better than just trying to do 3 little dots. That doesn't work very well. To add some more water in there. Okay. We can just leave that for now. And I think I might do her hair while we're at it. I think I'm just going to do this dark hair. And I don't mind if it's a little bit, you know, kind of whatever. Just going to take a quick little wire brush here and just do some little things coming out of it. So well. I'll fix that later. Okay. Make sure to go right up against her arm here. All right. So I'm going to dry this, and then I'm going to come back to it with taking this off. So all I'm going to do to take this off is I'm just going to rub it. Some people use like a eraser type thing. I'm just going to rub it. I find it works much better this way. So you can see, if you've never used this before, how the masking fluid completely protects what's underneath it, if you've covered it properly. So I could either, at this point I could just leave it like this, or I can paint it with some watercolor tubes, a palette, some Brusho. I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to have a look at my, I'm just erasing some of these lines that never got erased. Some of these pencil lines that were underneath here. I don't mind the pencil lines in there, so I'm going to have a look at my Oh, that's not the one. So I have a palette here that is from Jane Davenport. These are all from two of Jane Davenport's palettes, her brights and then her neutrals. And then I have the Prima ones from the pastel and then the neutral, like the skin tones line. So I think I'm going to go with these ones. I could probably find a skin tone might work, but I'm just going to go with these. So I just want to keep it quite clean. And I can use this, the back of this palette, to kind of mix this up if I want. So what I did was I put packing tape over this, so it's laminated. But actual lamination would work too. And then I have a unicorn. I don't know where that was. I'm going to add a little bit of white to this. So usually when I've started with watercolor and skin tones, I would usually start with a yellow ochre type skin tone. So a yellow ochre would be something like, let's see here, maybe this coconut, or the gold actually, probably more the gold. So I'm just going to put in a few little shadows in here, just where her arms are. Okay, I have activated some of that. And then I'm just going to just soften that out a little bit. I just want a little bit of a color in here. I don't really want much of a color at all. Just a little bit of shading. And then I'll just activate this a little bit. Because we need that under her chin there. And that is what I narrate. So for her face, we don't really want to do too much. I don't think we need to detail anything too much, but I am just going to put a little bit of this kind of burnt sienna underneath there. So that is this Namaste. I guess burnt sienna would be more like this Unite here. Let's try just a little bit here. Yeah, that works. Just a little bit in there. And then maybe the Namaste along there. And soften that right out. And a little bit along here to show the knees. You don't want to think too hard. In this situation, you don't want to think too hard about the shading. It's just going to be just really simple shading that you're going to do here. I'll just add a little bit of color to her face. Oh, I still got some stuff there. Okay. Now for her face, for her mouth, I think I'm just going to take a pen and I'm just going to do some eyes and just kind of can't do that on wet. So it's still wet, so I'm just going to leave that, but I am going to outline it a little bit. And then you can try some gouache or you can try some acrylic paint if you want to put in some slippers here, if you want to put those, just to tell us that yes, they are colored and we're not trying to, we didn't forget about them. Doesn't need to be super so I just used the lemonade from Prima, and that comes in both the pastel and the neutrals one. We could do a little bit on her cheek. Yeah, I like that actually. Just leave that. And I think all we're gonna, actually, I need to do something for her hands right here. All we're gonna do is just use a pen. For her fingers and stuff. I'm just gonna put some shading in there. Because I need to kind of, that hand is kind of weirdly shaped anyway. There. Okay, so let's let that dry and then I'm going to add the pen. All right, so as I'm finishing up, I'm just fiddling around here with details, putting in some more shading, and I could do a lot more shading, But there's already so much going on here that I thought, you know what, I'm just going to keep it simple. And with the pen, I just like using the pen because it defines it more. I don't always use it, but I do like using it kind of like in a mixed media way, I guess. And as the watercolor dries, you can see, you know, I have to keep adding layers and layers because some of that, like especially under her chin there, I really want it to be darker. And so you can see I've gone through that multiple times. And so just be aware that you're not going to get necessarily the color down that you want, the shade down right away that you want. You're going to have to go through that a couple times. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you on the next one. I want to do a negative painting one for you guys for the next one, and it's just going to be a normal watercolor video. So I will see you then. Bye.